You know what I mean? So if the kids really want to get back at him, play the game, beat
Nice.
him.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I'm going to heavily encourage my son to lean forwards as much as possible. Right now, when he's sitting there watching Kung Fu Panda on the TV set, I literally walk up next to him and I clap my hands next to his ear. And it's like a zombie
Really?
just leaning forward. I'm like, this is what I can't stand. I can't stand. I can't stand. I can't stand. I don't want him to just get comfortable with just the one-way experience of TV and movies. And to
Yes.
be honest, console video games. Even though you can have a headset and you can be called a whole bunch of names from a twerp in Tallahassee, that's not a two-way experience, okay?
Yeah.
A computer modifying, editing, controlling, redesigning, that's a two-way experience. So I'm going to try to get him to get into that.
Okay.
And I thank Knucklehead Tech for that link.
Very cool.
Once again, it keeps me straight. Total flippity floppity. As aspiring Linux administrators, okay? Strike that, reverse. As aspiring enterprise grade computer technicians or network administrators, you always have to find your niche of what you do well, that where you can say, I know this better than other people, and this will help sell me as a product to the company. Okay. One of the best things you can do is save corporate businesses, especially, money. If they have someone come in and say, oh, yep, I can set up your phone system and have auto forwarders and hold and transferring capabilities and conference call capabilities and, 25 lines. Yeah, I can do it for around $80,000. Yeah. I don't know how much they charge, but I know they charge a lot because they got to have the hardware, the software, the techs come in and set it up. And then for as soon as it goes live, there's going to be a lot of tech support involved. And then after that, you're still going to have to pay for upgrades, updates, all these kind of extra things. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
The perfect example in that case scenario is Asterisk. Asterisk is one of those tools that it can do virtually anything you can imagine. Telephony. Thank you. In telephony you can think of. Okay. You can set up mailboxes. You can set it up so there's menu systems. And hello, welcome to the McLaughlin residence. If you have a message for Daniel McLaughlin, hit 1 now.
Right.
And you hit 1 now, dude, Danny McLaughlin is only 3. So you must have the wrong Danny McLaughlin. Goodbye. And hang up on. You know what I mean? You can literally have menu choices like that. You can easily, from your phone, pick it up, hit 0, you're transferred into the computer, and you can change, well, today I want my line for the house forwarded to this phone number.
Huh.
Asterisk can do all that kind of thing. It is freaking insanely powerful, and a lot of businesses use it as their back end.
Right.
Maybe not as much as PF uses for firewall, but a lot of them do, and I know that for a fact. There's a link over at eWeek. eWeek's one of those sites I'm not really a fan of. But when they publish something, they typically go all out. They have the 10 custom Linux distros that ease IT administrators' workload. And that, to be honest, is a true gist exactly to the T of what this is. This is a way to simplify a rollout of a new service in a enterprise. Asterisk for telephony. Telephony. Then they have Untangle. Very popular Debian-based firewall, gateway, unified threat management, spyware scanner, all kinds of stuff. And there's DVL, Darn Vulnerable Linux, which can do basically like penetration testing kind of thing
Really?
on your local network. So stop the bad guys before they start, kind of thing.
Interesting.
And it goes on and on. They have a total of 10. If you think you have even small to medium business or even enterprise type needs, this would be a good link to look at. And one thing I'm going to mention in here real quick. Okay, Linux distros, 10 custom Linux distros. Astaro Security Gateway. We've heard it on Twit. Everybody who's listened to any security now in the last whatever years, 5 years, has more than likely heard Astaro Security Gateway. It's won a whole bunch of best-in-class awards. For its task, what it does, it is good, very good, very lightweight, very flexible, and Linux. You know what I mean? So you know it has extra security in it because it's high-hanging fruit, let's say. It isn't a Windows box.
Right.
But the Astaro Security Gateway is a really good UTM, Unified Threat System Management. It can catch spam, viruses, and malware and worms coming into your network before they can hit a computer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gparted. If you do any kind of imaging installation, if you don't know what Gparted is, you're doing too much work. Okay. Backtrack Linux. Only use it where you have explicit authority to use it. You can get in trouble if you go up to Starbucks and start hacking people. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
And there's more. They have some pretty good ones in here. They have one or two I've never heard of. They have one here called CAINE, CAINE, Computer Aided Investigative Environment.
Weird.
Fancy. I don't know what it is. I don't do that kind of thing. So it just sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But that's over at eWeek. I thought that was interesting.
It is. It's a good article.
Okay. Last thing. I'm not going to lie, Steve. I didn't look at it. I'm not going to look at it. Period. Because every piece of hardware I get, I know ahead of time it's going to work in Linux. And I ain't going to have to work. I'm not going to have to fight. I'm not going to have to strangle to get it to work. Because honestly, I went through this today at work, Steve. I already said it. Okay, yeah, I did it at work. Okay. I literally sat there for an hour and a half physically banging on the keyboard, trying to get this frigging Windows XP and then Windows 7 box, either one of them, to pick up my phone in charge mode, mind you. The most generic mode you can possibly have on a smartphone, charge mode. To get the box to pick it up right. I was searching for an hour and a half for the right drivers and trying to install the drivers, hardware.
Just to charge your phone?
No, because I needed to re-ROM it. I screwed it up again. And then I was just sitting there pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding. And one of the guys who I got a Captain Harvey sub for, so he's thankful, came out of my cube and he started talking to me about how he can root and ROM his phone. He said, it's too new. I can't find anything for it. And then he just looked at me and said, by the way, what the hell are you trying to do? I said, I'm trying to get this thing working, right? So I can, ROM it because I messed it up. And he said, well, what do you need? Why can't you find the driver? I said, I'm going to the sites where the people are saying, here's the steps, here's the drivers. I download them, I install them, it's still not working. And then he just started chuckling. And I said, this is why I can't stand Windows. He said, well, would a Linux distro help? Yes. Well, why don't you just download one? Well, because my computer doesn't even have a DVD burner or a CD burner in it. He said, oh, I'll take care of that for you. Came back, 20 minutes later. Here's the whole time I'm pounding on the computer. He said, oh, here you go. I simply inserted the disk, rebooted the computer, disconnected the network as it was rebooting because I'm not supposed to have that kind of system on the network. I let it boot up completely. I plugged it in and I heard dung dung kind of sound.
Yeah.
I looked up and it's working.
Nice.
And then I just redid my phone. But what I'm trying to say is it's really a huge chasm of difference, okay? In Windows, stuff works or stuff's easy to find to get it to work. And then you have edge cases that's really hard to get working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or impossible to get working
Right.
in some cases.
Right.
In Linux, the gap of the amount of stuff you just plug it in and it works is far greater than in Windows.
Huh.
The stuff you have to work a little bit for is much less in Linux.
Right.
Where in Windows, you go to Dell.com, you download, and it works. In Linux, that gap is very small.
I see. So if it doesn't work in Linux, then it's going to take some doing.
The odds are, I would say,
Gotcha.
it's going to take extra effort. And that's why I just test it out first, see if it works. And sometimes it might work in Mint, it might not work in OpenSUSE, or it might work in Mageia, and it might not work in Ubuntu. Different distros do have a little bit of different support, I'll say.
Okay.
But here's an article at Larry. What?
Matt Hartley.
Oh, Matt Hartley. I'm thinking Matthew without the W. matthartley.com/webcam-drivers-4-Ubuntu. I've never had this issue, so I don't know how good this explanation is, but they basically tell you a couple little tips to how to get a webcam to work. One of the biggest things that I can tell you about, and I've seen it happen on more than one computer in more than one operating system, is I plug something up to this USB port and it doesn't really work completely right. I take it out, I put it in this other USB port on the other side of the computer, it works fine. Some USB ports are technically further away from the motherboard, so lag can become an issue. Also, there are different hubs. You know, typically
Right.
if something's in the front and the back or the side of the side, they're different hubs.
Right.
One hub could start to be going bad. It happens.
Sure.
So always try completely different USB ports if you can. And then he has a little thing down at the bottom, a couple commands, sudo mod probe GSPCA and sudo mod probe UVC video. Sudo mod probe. Sudo means do it as the big cheese, the big boss, the admin, the root. Mod probe is going to basically, it's a command where it's going to probe for modules. Modules in the Linux world are drivers. So it's basically trying to initiate these drivers in your system because it might not be picked up entirely correct when you plug it in. We've all seen that in every operating system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You plug up a printer and it's a D2200NN. You plug it up and it says D2200, but it's an NN. It didn't pick it up completely right.
Right.
You know? Same kind of thing. So if you are having webcam issues, this might help you. Can't hurt? Well, it could hurt, but I doubt it would.
It's a good suggestion. Good site. matthartley.com, webcam drivers for Ubuntu. Awesome.
Yep. I honestly believe that's the first time I've ever came across his site. The one thing I'll say about this, really clean.
Really?
Yeah, see, I can't make this site either. It's too clean.
You can with one of those templates you talked about earlier.
Yep, he could be using that too.
All right, we got
plus one buttons everywhere.
His what?
He has +1 buttons everywhere. I hate buttons. I'm sorry, Steve. I digress.
For anybody who wants to know what I digress and touche is, those words that we're throwing around all show. We watched them on the brochachos.com, so you should check it out.
Yeah, and Podnutz Pro, Lalo Nunez, hell of a good guy, very smart guy, and if you watch the Brochachos, the guy who likes to have fun.
Yes. Yeah, definitely watch both of those shows. Lalo is a good dude. Funny, too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you want to do some emails?
I'll try.
Okay, here we go. An email from Denning. Steve M. That's you, Dor. For many years, we Linux users were generally safe from malware and viruses for the most part. It appears those days may be over. A new vulnerability in Java, which is installed on over 300 billion devices, makes it easy for malware to be delivered over the web simply by going to a booby-trapped website. And here are the supporting articles, and it's on krebsonsecurity.com. The title of the article is Public Java Exploit Amps Up Threat